nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. And I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern day system of income tax.
And the facts say, Daniel?
A whole lot of nonsense there. I'm going to start from the end. So the president claimed that tariffs are paid for by foreign countries. They simply are not. The tariff payments to the U.S. government are made by U.S. importers, and we know from life experience and from academic study after study that they often pass on some or all of their costs to the final consumer. He claimed again that he secured $18 trillion in investments so far this term. That number is total fiction. The White House's own website uses at this very payments to the U.S. government are made by U.S. importers, and we know from life experience and from academic study after study that they often pass on some or all of their costs to the final consumer. He claimed again that he secured $18 trillion in investments so far this term. That number is total fiction. The White House's own website uses at this very moment a figure of 9.7 million in so-called major investment promises or announcements, and I found that even that 9.7 trillion figure is a wild exaggeration. And on this whole economic narrative that he inherited record inflation, he didn't. He inherited that number is total fiction. The White House's own website uses claim he inherited a stagnant economy is now roaring like never before. Look, economic growth in 2025, mostly under Trump, was 2.2%. That was partly affected by the government shutdown in the fall, but it was 2.8% under President Biden in 2025. It was also higher than 2.2% in every other year of the Biden administration before 2024. And other metrics also don't suggest any corroboration of this narrative that there is some terrible, diseased, stagnant economy that is now booming. It's just not the case.
Yeah, it's really fascinating that he quoted this $18 trillion, but on their own website, it's $9.7 trillion that they are touting. So there's a huge discrepancy there. All right, the president also said he's responsible for low gas prices, getting them to below $2 in some states. What do the facts say in this one?
Yeah, so he said most states have gas prices below $2.30. Not a single state yesterday had a gas price average, according to AAA, below $2.37. And then how many stations were below $2? Well, I spoke to gas, but
$2 in some states. What do the facts say in this one?
37 cents. And then how many stations were below $2? Well, I spoke to Gas Buddy, a firm that tracks more than 150,000 gas stations around the U.S. They told me that 4 stations yesterday were selling for below $2 aside from special discounts. 4 out of 150,000. So yes, they exist, but the president didn't make clear that we're talking like beyond needle in a haystack territory here.
All right, so what else did you notice? You pointed out some of the more serious lies that were told last night. It surrounded the murder of a woman who was on a train. We all saw this horrific murder. She was in Charlotte, North Carolina last year. Let me play a little bit of what the president said about this.
And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old
on a train. We all saw this horrific murder. She was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
What's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old
what the president said about this.
Up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders.
Now, there's no doubt that he's right about this, the horror of all of this, as we all saw what happened on that train. But the man charged with her murder, isn't he American?
He is American by all accounts. He did not come in through open borders. The Charlotte Observer reported yesterday that this claim is simply not true, that this man's Facebook page says he was born in Charlotte. The paper has interviewed his... Did not come in through... reported yesterday that this claim is simply not true, that this man's Facebook page says he was born in Charlotte. The paper has interviewed his... He is American. Yesterday that this claim is simply not true, that this man's Facebook page says he was born in Charlotte. The paper has interviewed his report, but attributing it to immigration, to the Biden administration's border policies, just completely baseless.
It's a real big problem, Daniel Dale, but we do appreciate appreciate you going through the facts for us. We really always need it. Appreciate you. Kate?
Let's talk about that big speech last night. The